Shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. That was one of the very talented artists who will be performing and creating work in the 2022 Frigid Festival that is happening off Broadway at the Crane Theater in New York. It's not Crane like the buried, it's Krane, all the way over on East 4th Street. It's near the New York Theater Workshop. It's near a lot of drug addicts. It's a great town. We have with us several of the people who are taking part in this Frigid Festival, including the man we just saw, Keith Alessi, whose show is called Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjo Saved My Life. We also have, I don't know the configuration. He's on my upper left. I have no idea how they're configured on your screen, but I'll just kind of do a clockwise thing. We have the lady there. The lady is Julia VanderVeen. Hello, waving. Yes, she's the only one. I was going to say the only, no, there's two without facial hair, one with live Italians. Oh, and by the way, everybody, I'm going to need you to unmute your computers because you're all automatically muted. But Julia VanderVeen is in a show called My Grandmother's Eye Patch. She's going to tell us about that. We also have, let's see, there's Grant Bowen with a public-private prayer. Is that public or pubic? No, it's public-private prayer. We're going to talk about that as well. We also have a writer, Mike Lemme, who created Bathroom of a Bar on Bleecker. Wave, Mike. There you go. Thank you. He's not in it, but he wrote it. And then finally we have, and last certainly but not least, Brian Schiller, who has a solo show called...
No, it's least. It's least.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it's least. It's least.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah. Well, you must be Jewish then. But it's Mike Lemme and Brian Schiller, 3 funerals and a chimp. Dave's the producer of the show. His wife has asked, you have to have a beard to be in the group. Eventually, like soon, Julia and Brian will have beards by the end of the Frigid Festival. That's what it does to you. So shalom to all of you. Welcome to the neighborhood. Thank you for joining us. So, are you good? We'll ask some questions directly and some randomly. But how are you feeling? How do you all feel ready and pumped to start doing theater again, doing theater live in New York this week? Just go, anybody.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been waiting for this moment for the past like 2 years now because I mean I've done my fair share of shows on Zoom and everything, and no disrespect to anyone I worked with on those shows, but there's nothing like actually being in the space with an audience again and being able to feel, share that energy in real time and everything. No, I'm very much looking forward to this.
Now, your play, and I'm so glad you chimed in first because as a Presbyterian person like you, no, but your show has to do with religion and things and talking to Hashem, talking to God. So here's the deal. It's called Public-Private Prayer. Please tell us quickly what is the show is about.
Okay, so a public-private prayer, it's the premise is that I show up and I start having this kind of one. Yeah, I'm here. It's one where I'm present, and I start having a one-sided conversation with God, where I admit that I don't know if I really believe in God anymore, and that leads me into sharing a lot of my personal stories from my childhood. I'm from Alabama. I was raised in a large church. About how I was raised within that faith, and I had all of these moments of doubt going into my adulthood. And then ultimately what you find out is that, sure, it's about religion, but it's not really about religion. It's about family. It's about mental health. It's about figuring out who you are. It's trying to talk about a lot.
So what did you figure out about yourself? Who are you, Grant Bowen? What did you actually find out talking to God or him maybe? Did he talk back to you? Because he yells at me a lot.
He leaves me on red a lot, but what happens is that you ultimately, I find that the things I used to think my self-worth was based on were not what they were.
Ooh. So what were they and what are they now?
It's a lot of my youth was spent, and Mom, Dad, if you're watching, it's like, I felt like I had to really kind of fit in with my environment. I had to take a lot of things very seriously. But but as I got older, I realized that, some things are like, a square peg in a round hole. And, it's really, it's about, you find out there's more to you than you think there is.
I'm not sure. I'm still undecided. Both
Gotcha.
about you and me. I really. Laughing also with us is Mike Lemme. By the way, am I pronouncing that right? Is it?
Yes,
Lemme?
Rabbi, you are. Yes, 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 yes.
Shalom, Mike Lemme.
Shalom.
A bathroom of a bar on Bleecker, which you are a performer. You did not choose to perform in this. Was there a particular reason aside from Emil Ferzola probably being a really good actor? But
That is 100% the reason. I am not a good actor, so I need a good actor for this show, and I also need to sell some tickets. So let's make that happen, Rabbi. Can we do that?
What do you think I'm here? Well, actually, I'm here.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But I love the premise of this. This has to do with like a podcast that has gotten really, really popular, and now they're going to end it. Why and what is the story of the show?
The story of the show is the last episode of America's #1 comedy podcast that records in the bathroom of a bar on Bleecker Street. And you got to come to see the show to find out why the show has to end. It is very topical. It is, if you like podcasts, you're going to like the show. If you hate podcasts, you're going to like the show. And Emil is an incredible actor. I originally wanted Denzel Washington to be in the show, but Emil got the role anyway. So
I wanted Denzel Washington to do this right now, but
yeah, but sometimes
my calls is a stalker sort of issue thing. But let me ask you, I've got to stay with you, Mike Lemme, because I'm a little. You say you're not a good actor, but you are a comedian. You've done comedy, stand up, and stuff, and you were an intern. I find this amazing for both Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Fallon for their shows.
Yes.
Did that give you a leg up? Did you think, oh, I'm walking through the halls of NBC or whatever. At some point, they're going to notice me. They're going to give me my late night show. What really happened? What is it really like?
It was a great experience. I made some of the best friends of my life during those internships, but they didn't lead to like a lot of career opportunities. But it did give me a lot of. When I interned for Jimmy Fallon, it was my first time in New York City, and I realized that people can live in New York, you can do things in New York City, you can have a career. Like I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts where like I didn't know you could like leave that town until I interned for Fallon and then Conan in LA. So it's just like those internships made me realize there's a world outside of like my hometown where I could actually achieve or chase the dreams that I have.
Well, tell us an amusing or a disgusting story about either Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Fallon. Any stories, any trade issues, secrets?
They're both very cool. Surprisingly, they're both very cool and nice people. Like I was afraid to talk to them. Anytime I would say hi to Conan, it was like the best day of my life. I would just say, "Hey, how's it going?" He'd say, "Good." I'm like, "This is amazing. This is the coolest thing of all time."
Letterman, you kind of like, Letterman,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was so like, they're like the funniest people.
There, I'm not sure who, but somebody is like feedbacking on their audio thing. I'm not sure if it's you or Mike. Say something.
Hey, hello. Hey, buy tickets to my show.
Much better. All right. Well, thank you for turn down the thing. But I'm sorry. What were you saying? I didn't mean to. But it was just getting annoying with the back and forth.
Yeah,
like,
it was just
essentially. Yeah.
It was just an incredible experience, just being able to walk in the same hallway as them and like just be around all the writers and producers and seeing a show like that happen. Getting to see the Roots perform live every day was amazing. Like it was just such an incredible experience.
Well, Mike Lemme, you are joining us, as is Grant Bowen. We've talked to the both of you. Let's talk to more people, and let's talk about something fun like death. Let's talk about death, because we have a person who is really, the show, in a comical way, I hope, is rather death obsessed. One of the great titles of all time, 3 Funerals and a Chimp, which is by Brian Schiller. Brian is with us. Brian, shalom to you. And so tell us about, literally, in your life.
Shalom to you, Rabbi.
Yeah, 3 funerals. Tell us.
Thank you for being here this morning. And I think missing temple for this. Aren't you supposed to be in temple this morning?
Yes, I did it earlier in the morning. I like to do my sermons when nobody's there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But tell us about 3 funerals and a chimp, please.
It's based on a true story. After my mother and brother died 3 months apart, I moved down to southern Florida to become a live-in caregiver for my dad for 4 years before he passed away. And it's stand-up comedy, which is, that's my voice.
Hilarious.
Like Mike.
Can you do one of the death raggles?
And
hilarious, or what's funny? Where did you find the funny in any of this?
Well, I mean, as someone who's involved in theater and comedy, you know how closely connected the tragedy and the humor is. So, I mean, it was actually quite easy. I think that people who watch it will come away with it resonating with them. I think that, there's a lot in there that people will recognize from in their own lives.
Let me ask you a question.
And,
when you were writing,
it's actually a very life affirming story. And, and it's about really the importance of caregiving. And, I was not really, I didn't think that I had that sort of thing in me. But, and I came away from that experience thinking that, I had really done something worthwhile and,
but
really helped my father.
Can you hear me? Hello? I want to ask you the
question.
Yeah,
sure.
When you were writing the show and when you finished writing the show,
yes.
And I asked this of a lot of artists,
yes.
Was it cathartic? I mean, did you get through it because it was a personal story? It's about your passing of these relatives of yours. Was it, or, and we like to think, oh, we got it out of my system. I wrote the jokes. I wrote the show. Oh, I feel better about things. Or was it just like writing another play?
No, yeah. I mean, there definitely was an element of catharsis in it. I think the real catharsis came for me after I went into therapy, following the grief therapy, following the deaths of my father, or the death of my father, because I had put that off until he had died. So, like, I didn't do anything to, after my mother and brother had passed away. So, like, just all of this grief came, pouring out. I found therapy to be very soothing. But the writing process was also very soothing. And I knew instantly that it was going to be a winner if I just wrote it well. And because it is a unique story for stand-up. And it's a really worthwhile message.
Well, people die. This, that would be that. That's a good. We have to remember.
Well, you haven't. You're not listening. You haven't been listening to anything I said. The message is really about becoming a caregiver. Spending that time with whoever it is in your life, and doing that for them. I found in my case, not only did my dad need it, but I also needed it as well. Someone to love and care for and be with. And I was very fortunate in some respects because I was able to do it. Not everyone is at a point in their life where they could do it. I was not working at the time, and
you're an actor. You don't even have to say that. Of course, you weren't working. You're an actor, but I want to also move on because we have other people. We have
Sure.
involved in the Frigid New York City 2022 festival, including the lovely and the talented Julia VanderVeen, who is talking about not just her grandmother, but her grandmother's eye patch, but in a kind of a zany, almost glimpses, not narrative form. Is it sort of? Tell us about your show. It's called My Grandmother's Eye Patch.
Yeah, actually, when you introduced Brian's show, I wasn't sure if you were talking about mine because mine is a memorial service to my grandmother.
Hilarious, yes.
In which I play different characters and also play. Also, this is a little bit of a, I hope this doesn't ruin the play for you. I know you're all going to come, but she actually comes back from the dead in the show. So that's just a little teaser just to get you excited. It is a physical comedy show, meaning that for me, what that means is I do play in my body a lot. So I do make some jokes, but it's very physical. And there's no fourth wall. So I'm doing a lot of playing with the audience, interacting with the audience, which I did my tech on Thursday, and just to be in the space. I mean, I'm so excited just to be in the space. And then I've been rehearsing with my director on Zoom. So we went back to Zoom yesterday, and it was like, oh man, I mean, it's just kind of a bummer after like actually being in a live theater. So yeah, I mean, if it weren't COVID times, I would definitely have someone at a certain time up on stage with me, which is not possible, but we're still definitely going to have the live theater experience that it will be unique, whichever show you come to based on who's there.
Interesting. Oh, so, but let me also, your company, since you talk about physical theater and comedy and even dance a little bit, you have a company called Clowns Can Dance, but should they? I don't know. I find that rather bothersome.
I don't have a company called Clowns Can Dance. Is that?
Oh, there must be another Julia VanderVeen. Or I guess they can't. No.
I don't know. I mean, I'm for clowns dancing. I'm for clowns. I'm for dance.
Right, yes.
If she has my name, then like maybe we should team up. I'm not sure, but like I'm for it. I'm for all of it. So it's all good. Yeah.
Let's not get too controversial on the clown issues here.
Oh, certainly. But should clowns be vaccinated?
What I didn't, that's why I chose to say it's a physical comedy show instead of a clown show, because to me, those are the same thing, but I'm not going to be wearing clown makeup and stuff like that.
I hope the hell not. No.
Don't be scared, Grant. Come on in.
You got to earn my trust. I don't know about that.
It's all on the table. Ask me anything. Not afraid.
Well, we have more questions to ask Julia and Grant and Mike and also Brian, but let us also talk, of course, to the man whose show is called Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjo saved my... Oh, 1 sec, yes. Yeah. By the way, we have on our Facebook feed, we're also sending links to all your different shows so people can buy tickets to see these productions at the Frigid NYC Festival at the... Are you all at the Crane, or one of you two at a different... You're all...
I'm at the Crane.
Okay.
I'm at the Under St. Mark.
Under St. Mark's as well.
Okay, that's the other one. So you have to check which theater you're at. They're very close to each other, but still, you want to be in the right theater, obviously. And if you will be in the right theater if you go to see Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjo Saved My Life with Keith Alessi. Shalom to you, Keith. Tell us about tomatoes and banjos and cancer and everything else.
Yeah, shalom. Greetings from Southwest Virginia. I come to the stage from a very different place than these young, talented folks that we've been talking to. I was a public company CEO, and I had spent my life building a world-class banjo collection that I couldn't build, I couldn't play. And the plan was I was going to get to them at some point, but life always got in the way. About 6 years ago, I woke up one morning and was told I had a year to live. So it was a cancer diagnosis. And while I was going through my treatments and recovery, I said, I'm going to learn how to play these banjos. And I threw myself into the banjos. They represented hope and life and a future. And so they're metaphorical as well as physical. And what ended up happening is I said, I'm going to do a show simply because I need the accountability of getting in front of other people. I'd tried to learn how to play by taking lessons and whatnot. It never stuck. So I said, well, I need an audience. And I applied to a fringe festival and I got in. So I had to write this show. It was supposed to be a one and done. And all of a sudden, and it was actually at the Fringe in 2019, this thing became something I had never imagined. And now I've performed it 150 times. I was actually able in 2021 to perform, did a run in Saskatoon and another run in Rosebud, Alberta. But I'm really looking forward to coming back to New York because New York's really what gave me my launch.
Now let me ask you though. You mentioned you were getting a world-class collection of banjos, which sounds almost like an oxymoron there. But what is like the classiest? What is the best banjo? The one that's is it like the one Pete Seeger when he was 2 years old with ding bling bling?
No, I have kind of the Stradivarius of bluegrass banjos are pre-war Gibson master tones. They had a unique metallurgy involved in them, and they're really what all the big names go after. I couldn't play it well, but I have a pre-war master tone. And my favorite old time banjo, I have a Jason Romero banjo that I actually play in the show. His stuff's in such high demand, you got to get on a 5-year wait list in order for him to build you one. So I'm thrilled to have that one in the collection.
Because I'm a little, normally I don't master tone in public. It's not a pleasant thing. But do you own any that are signed or like by famous bluegrass or banjo players? Do you have that kind of part of a collection, or are they just really well made, beautiful?
Yeah, I have master. I had a Ricky Skaggs signed banjo, and I've got a Steve Martin signed banjo. You know, he's quite there, and yeah, I've got a few of those in the collection.
Wait, so and I also I'm curious, where do you keep? I mean, are they open to the public, or you just have them in your basement and you're cared for in climate controlled conditions, or what?
They're literally in my closet, and that's the opening line to my show. You can tell who a person really is by looking in their closet. I had 52 banjos in mine.
Well, I guess that means you're highly strung. I'm sorry. My apologies. We're talking to people. You know, Julia's shaking her head. I see that every time I make a
Nice.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you. These are the people who are taking part, among many, many others, in the New York City Frigid Festival. It's happening at Under St. Mark's and the Crane Theater, and it's happening from February 16th this week through March 6th. For more information, for tickets, go to frigid.nyc. Frigid.nyc. And also, if you look on the bottom of the Facebook that we're talking now, we've got links to all your different shows. Is anybody streaming the show? Are you all, quote unquote, only live? Is anybody also streaming? Oh,
Yeah,
I am.
we're also streaming.
So one of the streaming people, what is the deal with that? You have to still pay for tickets, but you can watch from, is it live or is it pre-recorded? How's the streaming?
It's live, and you also, it's a sliding scale. So people, just like the live in-person tickets, people can pay whatever they'd like.
You can totally Jeffrey Tubin it. If you want for my show, it's, you know, that's up to you. But yeah, no, my show is being streamed. I guess in more ways than one. No, sorry.
I don't even know what the hell that means, but it's still funny.
Dave,
Okay.
Dave, I'm so sorry.
Myself, yes. But well, let me ask you: is anybody not streaming? And then, is there a reason why? Or you're all making plans to both stream and be physically in person, right? All of you have that option. Am I correct?
Yeah. You can either come to the show in person, or each show will be live streamed to Vimeo, I found out. And if my understanding is right, I believe you'll have like a 24-hour window within the performance to watch the video that you've streamed. So even if you can't watch it as it's happening, you'll have 24 hours afterward to access it.
Well, that's great. You can see all 5 shows on one night. You can just kind of like, I think that'd be wonderful, actually. When you guys were signing up, because you have to do months in advance to pay the fee, to do this, to get the theater, to be in the festival, were you all on tenterhooks when Omicron was happening? Did you all think, oh, the hell, you know, this is not going to happen? Anybody chime in?
My fiance just got over having COVID a second time. And knock on wood, I somehow avoided it, but it is still that, like, we got a lot going on here. Can we see if we can make it through this and everything? It's just crazy that all of this is still going on.
I want to ask you, first of all, how bad was her first round? How good or bad was her second?
We both had it when she had it the first time.
Right.
And this was before we were vaccinated. Not fun. 1 star, would not recommend. And what's crazy is she, not to share too much, she is immunocompromised. So when she got it the second time, even though she was vaccinated, even though she was boosted, it hit her almost just as hard. So it's something. It's kind of the proof that it's like you still have to take this seriously. You still have to be careful. And with the safety protocols that I've been working with Frigid, I co-produce a monthly storytelling show there, and they have been taking this seriously. They're taking measures within the theater to make sure it's a safe experience as possible for everyone who's coming.
Everybody has to wear a condom. This is very important.
Yes,
even the women.
Over your face. Condoms over the face. Gloves, everyone. No, it's everyone will be masked. Yeah. Everyone, like, you're required to show proof of vaccination. They have a new air conditioning system that filters out the air in the room every 10 minutes.
And it'll be 20 degrees outside, so that's going to feel so good with the air conditioning blasting on you. That'll be fun.
Rabbi,
it is the Frigid Festival, so.
Rabbi, you really needed to go to the Saskatoon Fringe, because part of the artist pack, they literally do give you condoms.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that, but especially in the middle of COVID, I thought, yeah, casual hookups during COVID makes sense, right?
Brilliant. By the way, I want to since we're talking about applying to festivals and being and doing these shows, it's not as if you guys are all backed by Livent or something like that. I mean, you're on your own steam in some ways, going through these festivals. Mike Lemme, you in particular have experience producing and taking a show. I've written this show. I want to do this show. Now I want to bring it somewhere. I'm not going to wait for a producer. I'm not going to wait for Ken, Davenport to pick me out of 4 million people. I mean, it's fucking.
But if he wants to, hey Ken, if you're watching, I need some help, man. I love you, Ken Davenport. That was the rabbi, not me. Ken Davenport, if you're watching this, say I am available to meet whenever you're available.
Yeah, I get the emails 5 times a week from Ken Davenport. Like, or do you want your show on Broadway? Yes. Are you going to do it for me, Ken Davenport? No. Go fuck yourself.
You know what? Ken Davenport sent out a tweet about, like, hey, is anyone interested in being producers for Broadway or off-Broadway shows? And I looked at who replied, and I made a list of the people that replied, and I'm going to reach out to them.
Very nice.
But that's the producing thing. Like, I have a long history with Under St. Mark's. I did the Frigid Festival in 2015 and in 2018, and I also rented out Under St. Mark's for 15 nights. I did a self-funded residency there in 2016.
All right, stop right there. Stop right there. So was it GoFundMe? Was it Kickstarter?
Credit card debt, baby. Credit card debt, Rabbi. I'm still paying off. I'm still paying off the credit card bills for that. But it was totally worth it.
Joking, or is that real? You really?
Oh, that's real. Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
Why did you? I mean, what did you think you would?
Because I wanted it.
It's like a college loan. It'll never be worth what you're paying for.
It's totally worth it, man, because it's the mindset. It made me realize that these things are possible, that you can do anything if you have money or credit cards, pretty much. Anything's possible. And doing that 15-night residency under St. Mark's showed me how to do an hour of stand-up and storytelling every single night. I turned it into a special. I released it online. I sold it for like $5. I had it on Amazon Prime for a little while, and that kind of motivated me to do more of these fringe festivals. I went to Edinburgh a couple of years ago with 2 other comedians. I'm bringing Bathroom of a Bar and Bleecker back to Edinburgh in August, this coming August, and I'm also bringing another show called Healing Plus to Edinburgh in August. And it's all because of that 15-night rental. Just kind of doing my own thing and trying to, instead of trying to get in at these comedy clubs in New York City, I'm trying to build an audience, build my own shows instead of depending on all these gatekeepers.
Has anybody else done Edinburgh?
Hear what you're saying, Mike.
No.
Oh,
Alessi, what was your Edinburgh? Was it worth? Because the thing you hear about Edinburgh is there's 8 million shows, and if you don't stand out there flyering and tugging on people and say, come to my show, there's naked women, please come, and then you give them their money back if they really complain. But what was your experience, Keith?
Well, I'm going in August. I was supposed to have gone in 20. Ended up doing it online there, which actually worked out pretty well, because the real problem in Edinburgh is getting reviewed. And because we were online, we actually got 2 really good local reviews, which I hope will help us when I get there. And we got nominated for an ONCOM award, which is off West End theater platform in London will know, actually, I'm performing on the 20th there at the Frigid when the award ceremony takes place, but picking up credentials is important. I did primarily the Canadian Fringe circuit. I'm a dual citizen, and the Fringe in Canada is much more vigorous than it is here in the States. And you talked about how people finance these things. Obviously, I came from a different place because I had a career, but.
Could you write me a check?
Can you? Fringe.
Sell one fucking banjo. You can put me in under St. Mark's for a month. You know?
Well, I donate 100% of my gate to Fringe and to cancer charities. We just hit 500,000 Canadian in the last run we did. But there's a thing called fringe debt in Canada. They're mostly young artists, and people are carrying 5 and even 6 figures of credit card debt to feed their fringe habit.
Mike,
looking to build their.
Hey, I have a problem. I have a problem.
you just need to be Canadian and it'd be fine.
Well, yeah, but that's only 80 cents on the
Are
dollar.
they expected to pay that back at some point, or is there a forgiveness program? I mean, who
no, it's on their personal. It's their personal debt. It's not Fringe. Fringe doesn't finance them.
No, yeah, no, wow.
I'm about to get married. She's not going to let me get away with that.
But Mike,
hey, if Ken Davenport's watching, though, Ken Davenport can help us all out, though. Ken Davenport, this is to you, man.
Couple of bucks, but Mike, I'm not going to ask the actual figure. I'm assuming it's 4-digit or maybe 5-digit.
For the 15 shows alone, it was like $9,000 to $10,000 because I hired I had different musicians play every night. I hired like a publicist to help me out. And the ticket sales I didn't sell enough tickets to break even, but like it was the experience alone was like that. Interning for Conan and interning for Jimmy Fallon were fantastic, but that 15-night residency I did under St. Mark's completely changed my whole perspective on my career. So I would definitely do it again, but this time I would have Ken Davenport produce it.
Yes. Or who's Stuart Lane? And then
anyone, I don't care. Keith, come on.
Online, it's fine on Broadway.
I've been known to be a benefactor to other people at festival. There.
Absolutely, man.
I would say, Keith, can I send you my Indiegogo link?
Yeah, just come pitch me, you know.
Sure.
Julia, I have a question for you. Because your show is a little different, it seems, from a lot of the plays, quote unquote, or stand-up things. So when you were piecing together My Grandmother's Eye Patch, and I guess it was tough to piece together because it was hard at this point.
Right.
Now, how do you know until you get it in front of humans? Like, if I write something, if I write a sermon or a biblical reflection, or Dave writes a play, he can kind of tell. The story's happening, the arc is happening, this is funny, this will get a laugh, this won't. But your work is so physical and performative. How do you even know when you've written something, when you've created something, this is going to work, this is the show I want to bring to people?
It's a great question. And it's one reason I'm really excited about how my performances land, because I have one on the 19th and then the next 2 are a week later. So I'm really treating it like a living, breathing thing. I did a version of this show in 2019, but I worked on it a fair amount over the pandemic. It's pretty different. So there are a few things in the show where I'm like, okay, that really did work back when I did it. I did it at the Tank, and I also did it at the Hartford Fringe in Connecticut. But there are a lot of new things in the show. But that's where my work lies, is really in the vulnerability of, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And also what's nice about it, because it is a conversation with the audience, if it doesn't work, for me to have the sensitivity to the audience to be like, okay, maybe that wasn't your favorite thing. Let's try this, so that I'm acknowledging them, they feel a part of it. And audiences love that. If you can show your intelligence as a performer and to be like, okay, not your favorite thing, let's try this other thing. They do. It makes everyone breathe,
When I was doing my show off Broadway, Shalom Dammit, and Evening with Me, half after the show is, don't leave. Please don't leave. Please come back. Come back. I would give you money if I had money. I don't have. Ask Ken Davenport. He'll give you money. I'll give you no money. I don't know why we're bashing Ken Davenport. We're talking, by the way, with Frigid NYC participants and denizens. I have a question here for a landsman. By the way, how many of you? I think only Brian is a Jew here. Do we have any other Jews in the room? Oh, this is sad. But Brian,
Not a
not only,
Presbyterian.
not only are you a yiddle, but you make that part of your persona as doing stand-up. And so
I suppose so.
yeah, well, you brand yourself in some ways as a Jewish comedian. What does that even mean? I know what it means, obviously, but what do you mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's a part of my persona just in general. Actually, I mean, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm. I don't market myself as a Jewish comedian.
Yeah.
I only brought up the, because I only brought it up because you're Rabbi Sol.
It's also on your website. One of the things on your website has to do with like something Jewish comedian that you're listing as that, or they mention.
I have a joke. I have a joke where I say, growing up Jewish, it's very. People don't understand because there's a lot of pressure on you to be successful. Of course, I'm proud of myself for not succumbing to that pressure.
So you're a failure like me. So I'm
exactly.
I should be proud.
But I did want to say though that I am a stand-up first and foremost, and I've been a stand-up for many years. But over the past 8 years, I have been involved with fringe festivals. I have performed. I did Kansas City. I did one in Canada. The Halifax, I think. Am I saying that right?
Do they still make Halifax machines? I don't know. In this I'm very sorry about that. Yes.
Which other ones have I done? I've done like a whole bunch. I did mini Minnesota for my first show, which was called Tell All Your Friends, and that was also a very successful show for me. I performed it about 130 times across the U.S. and Canada, and the types of shows that I'm doing now are these, stand-up narratives or, like stand-up one-man shows where it's, it's stand-up, but there's this storytelling element, which makes it, technically theater. And, there are a few people that are doing them like, Mike Birbiglia and, Christopher Titus and Rob Becker.
Half the people in this room are doing it. Keith is doing it. He's doing it in a way.
Right.
But let me ask you, you have a story, you have a thing that I want to hear that I think you told someone, or again, it's on the site, about how two Orthodox Hasidic Jewish men kind of turned your head around as a performer, as an artist. Tell that story.
Thank you. So you were the person who read that blog post. Okay. So, yeah. I like to street perform, and I like to do it in Washington Square Park. And I had been street performing one day. It's a way for me to, get stage time and, figure out material and
score some drums. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, incense and whatnot. Play some chess. And so I was performing one day, and these two Hasidic guys came along and they tried to get me to rap some tefillin. For those of you that don't know, tefillin is like these leather straps that that Orthodox Jews like to wrap around their arms and also like on their head, because it makes them feel holier, and it's actually like a very good deed. It's a mitzvah, and it means that you're a good person. And so they try to, as they are wont to do, this is like their thing, get other Jews like myself, who are sort of, wayward, and they go around asking, like, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? And so.
And they're actually, if you're not, they will circumcise you on the spot. So if you express a willingness.
Yes.
But you made them a deal. I'm going to make you a deal. What was the deal?
I said, yeah, you guys can rap to fill in if you let me perform my show for you. And they thought about it and they were like, okay, sure. And I did like, you know, my whole hour. And then they rapped. they actually sat on benches. They didn't laugh at any of the sex stuff. And, you know, they actually turned their head, like, you know, when I said that. But I mean, they were very amused by the entire show. I mean, they listened for the entire thing, which really blew me away. And then I sat there and, you know, we completed the trade. They wrapped some tefillin on my arm, and I said a prayer for them, you know. So
just so you know, this is what we're talking about. If you've ever seen this on Jewish people, it's the box on the head and little strappies that go around the arm. So you can either pregagog or do heroin. They're both really they're useful for both items. So I mean, it's good that you all kind of reach or try to reach people in a different way, even if it means making deals like that. Now, Keith, your situation is that you are, with all due respect, you're a lot closer to my age than some of the other people here. The Fringe Festival tends to be geared towards both performers and audiences that are half our age. How do you, I mean, does that even matter to you? Do you even think about it? Do you sort of feel like when they all gather for cocktails or who can afford a cocktail in that? When you gather for juice before, you know, or the closing parties, do you feel a little bit like, well, I'm sort of out of this, or do you feel included?
Well, I'm 68, and the average Fringe performer is probably 30-something. But I found the Fringe audiences tend to be closer to my age, at least in Canada, where most of the big festivals. I think the most interesting thing about my journey has been, as you can imagine, my politics tend to lean a little more to the right than your average Fringe performer. And I was really shunned when I first got onto the festival. No, I wasn't there on January 6th. That wasn't
I swing
me.
more to the
You were
right,
there
too,
in
but that's something
spirit.
else.
In fact, this is the first time on a podcast since that Joe Rogan thing went horribly wrong for me. But what I found is, because of my background, people just automatically were quick to stereotype me in a way that isn't who I was. I was the first CEO they'd ever met. So they would make comments to me, but I have a philosophy. It's hard to dislike people you know. So, I mean, if you don't know gay people, it's really easy to dislike them. But if you know a gay person, then all of a sudden you don't dislike gay people. Well, all of a sudden I became this ambassador for old white executives on the Fringe circuit. I ended up, I mean, I didn't try to convert anybody, but what ended up happening, interestingly, is I started getting calls from people, or, you know, instant messages and stuff, and say, hey, how would you look at this topic? And I thought, this is pretty cool. We're communicating, because I was so unlike the people that they hung with. And there's a tendency to think the whole world thinks like you. But especially here in the States, half the people are one way and half are the other. If everybody you know thinks like you, you're missing out on half.
Yeah,
so
my problem is that everybody who knows me hates me. I'm the outlier on that.
Yeah, that's the one
No.
That. So I have found the journey to be very enlightening, and I would like to think I've had impact. The reason I keep doing this, you know, my show is a pretty personal show. It's about pursuing a passion and overcoming obstacles and whatnot, is my audience reactions. And this is young and old. I get people just about every show coming out of the audience, because everybody's been touched by cancer, either personally or, you know, in their families. And I hear so many stories. And I mean, I won't go into it here, but, you know, the amount of serendipity that's occurred during this journey, and people who were supposed to be there were there and they heard the message. I literally had an audience of 4 people at the Toronto Fringe. One of them was a 30-something-year-old kid. He was he was a kid. He was an adult, but he was a CEO of a tech company. He was facing terminal cancer. And out of 4 people, he was there. And, you know, we got to know each other. Unfortunately, he subsequently passed, but I was able to be a part of his journey. And
way to bring the mood down, Keith. Thank you.
No, but it's been inspirational in a lot of ways too. So Yeah, it's different being old on the circuit for sure.
Are you? By the way, are you cancer free? I mean, do you get checked every year or something? How's your health? How are you?
Yeah, I get every 6 months, and knock on wood, they give you five. I was supposed to have a 15% chance of surviving 5. I just passed 6 years, but I'm double vaxxed and boosted, and I still got Omicron, so I figure I'm super immune as I come to New York.
Wow, there you go. And Mazel, seriously. Have you, one of the things is that even though most of you are, well, you're all younger than him and even younger than I am and so forth, but what are struggles that you have had in your personal lives that you had to overcome whether it be artists or just to get along? Does anybody want to talk about that? I mean, obviously we have the deaths of close relatives in one case. What are some others, if you don't mind sharing? Huh? Credit card debt. We have that.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's so I've lived in New York since like 2012, and really went through the highs and lows of just trying to get the attention, trying to get noticed, trying to get your foot in the door anywhere. And I think some of the biggest challenges you have is just accepting when life is going to take you another way. Like, I wouldn't have guessed I'd be talking about these very personal stories on stage when I've moved up here. I have told people I technically didn't want to write this show because this was like the topic that I least wanted to go on about. But then I discovered storytelling. I realized that, like, oh, this is something I not only feel like I'm good at, but something I helps me connect with people on a deeper level. And at the same time, I met my fiance and realized she's the one. And I couldn't keep going about the starving artist taking catering shifts so that I can go to whatever auditions just to hear a bunch of no's. I couldn't keep doing that anymore. So the big challenge has been, okay, so how do I navigate like having a day job and finding that stability?
I mean, I'm a rabbi, but how many people hold up hands, have a work, benefits, health things? Just you, Grant? No, but wow. Well, Keith,
I'm retired.
Yeah, but how do you guys manage? Well, you have debt. I know you do.
Well, I've had like 20, like 30 different day jobs in the past 10 years. So it's all like, right now I'm doing more like freelance type of work, but yeah, it's always just have some savings, spend the savings. I had the credit cards for a while, did that, but it's just like every month is kind of different.
And what about you, Julia? You didn't raise a hand, so you make a living as an artist? Or
No. Sometimes I have before. I did hairspray on a Royal Caribbean ship for a year and made a great salary made like twice,
so you
3
just
times what I make
heads?
sometimes.
This is your whole job. You just went to them with cans of hairspray.
It was incredible. They were like, we don't need somebody that's skilled or talented. We just need someone to hairspray in someone's face. And I was like, yeah, definitely, I could do that.
Like the spritzers.
I'll go anywhere.
With the perfume. Yeah. Okay. No. So
yeah.
Who were you in hairspray?
Prudy Pingleton. Do you know of the show?
Grant is nodding.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember it too well, but you're Prudy Pingleton. Okay, I get it. Was that the Carrie Butler role? Because you have a Carrie Butler sort of a look.
It's her mom. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then I've waited tables forever. I did catering. I'm trying to get out of that. I'm actually teaching at some Jewish schools in New Jersey. Yeah. So
don't touch the men. Do not go near them.
Well, I had a moment like that because we were, I'm teaching them drama, and we were sitting in a circle on the floor, and my legs were crossed.
Yeah.
And I just saw a look on one of the boys' faces, and I was like, huh. All right. Noted. Like, maybe sit a different way. Yeah. Because it's an Orthodox school. Like, I have to wear a skirt and stuff like that. So
I wasn't joking.
Anyway,
don't go near you're unclean. You know, you got the blood coming out of places in you. This is not something.
Right. And me more than most. I mean, it just is constantly. Yeah. What are we talking about? Anyway. Yeah, so I'm trying to do teaching and stuff I love more than just catering and stuff, but it's stressful. I mean, what Mike was saying, like every month being different, having to rebuild things, figure out the money you need to make. I mean, I'm grateful to do what I love to do, but it's a constant reconfiguration of how is it going to work, you know?
We have a question here from the gallery. One is, do let people, is it from work, you mean? Know that they're in your show? Yeah. Oh, do when you work on day jobs, do you say, everybody?
No.
Here's a question.
Do you let the people who become characters in your show, do you let them know that they're in the show before they're sitting in the audience and they're like, that's not me, or that's me, or except for the people who are dead. I know you can't tell dead people, but for the live people or people you reference, do they know when they're sitting there that they're going to be a character or portrayed in your story?
Great question. Open to anyone, please.
Yeah. In my case, for my show, I still haven't told some relatives yet that are in it, but you know, I think they'll be okay with it. You know, it's not really too critical. You know, it's jokes, but yeah, no, that's definitely something that I thought about.
As anybody who's written jokes knows, they're jokes, but not 100%. Come on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, you know. I've had to do a lot of editing. I mean, you know, you can't call someone an asshole or something,
I have.
You know, and expect that you know, they're not going to be offended.
Ken Davenport's watching. He knows. But let me.
Whoa! Hey! Come on.
He's not gonna. No, he's a really nice guy. But here's anybody else who has done biographical stuff. Keith, you certainly have, and Julia. Do other family members show up in Grandma's eye patch? And do we say mom, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, sister, if they're Appalachian, what?
Not exactly, but the way I'm portraying my grandmother is not really like my grandmother. So I've been nervous about family members seeing the show and being like, what the hell? What the hell is that? Actually, my parents wanted to come up for the show and I was like, you can watch it online.
Can I ask you, Julia, what was the Marshmallow Mystery Tour? Did I look up the wrong Julia again? Or,
no, that's me. That's me. That's a film that I think is still being edited. That's about Betty Crocker and different characters like that. And I think it's a horror film. You know, I was on the set for a day and I was spraying hairspray, but you know, I didn't get the full. What is
the weather for a Betty Crocker horror film? Frosty. Hey, sorry.
I was gonna say like cloudy with a chance of meatballs, but gumdrops. You know, like probably raining. You know, sprouting mix or something.
Let's see. What else did I want to do? Well, first of all, I also want to remind everybody that all of these people are taking part. 4 of them will be physically on stage. 1 of them wrote a piece that is being done by another actor. But the names of the people and the shows that we've been talking to: Keith Alessi with Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjos Saved My Life. Also, Grant Bowen with A Public-Private Prayer. Mike Lemme with Bathroom of a Bar on Bleecker. All these alliterations, they're killing me here. Brian Schiller with 3 Funerals and a Chimp. And Julia VanderVeen with My Grandmother's Eye Patch. I wish there was a G word that rhymed, that was synonym for eye patch. My grandmother's gaga. That would be, you know, that's a different thing to do. So we have just a couple more minutes with these fine, delightful folks that we've been talking to. So can I ask where, and again, anybody who can answer this can answer this. You're doing this, some of you have, only 1 or 2 of you have day job. Where do you see yourselves in 10 years?
What are you, their mother?
Jewish mother, yes. They're, in terms of pursuing your art, I mean, if Ken Davenport's watching, you may pluck all of us and then put us in the Helen Hayes Theater in a couple of years, but more realistically, Where do you see yourselves? Anybody, feel free.
It's like a job interview.
I know I'm getting married this year.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. So we're probably in 10 years. I see myself with a family, and it's probably finding somewhere quiet and stable to be. But I'm gonna keep. I plan on. I want to keep writing. I want to keep doing things like this. I want to keep storytelling. Um, what that looks like, I haven't set into concrete terms because I'm just interested in seeing where the wind blows me. So
that's fair. What about Mike? Mike, I haven't heard from you in a while. Mike, talk.
Hey, yeah, 10 years. I want to keep doing what I'm doing, just on a higher level. Like I want to have more plays being put up, and while also still doing stand up. So, just keep doing what I'm doing, just on a larger scale.
All right, Mike, before I get to the other people in there, I forgot to ask, what is like your worst hell gig as a stand-up comic?
Worst.
For Brian also, real quick.
There's a couple of them. The absolute worst is I hosted a battle of the bands when I was like 14 or like 16, my high school battle of the bands. And I was very new to stand up, and they asked me if I could do like 20 minutes in between each band as they set up the new equipment. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I did like a 10-minute opening monologue that bombed horribly, and then I just had to introduce the bands from the audience. They wouldn't let me like get back on stage after that, so they just had like a montage of each band. Like they had like footage as a backup or something. So I did 10 minutes. I bombed in front of like every single person I knew and every single person in my high school, and I just had to introduce the bands with a microphone from the audience. From that point on, I was like,
anyway, here's Megadeth.
Oh my God! Now, Brian, what about you? What was your worst hell gig as a stand-up?
Oh God, I have two. One was at Smokey Joe's in West Philadelphia. I was on stage, and there was a bachelor party, and they threw a banana peel up at me. They up on the stage at me. They did not like me. And the other one was
because they didn't know you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, they had gotten sufficient time to get to know me, and they determined that they didn't like me. Yeah, in fairness to them, they gave me.
They gave you time
to know that they suitable time. What's that?
They gave you sufficient time to develop a loathing in them.
Exactly. And not too much difference between audiences and that people that meet me in general. So
all right, then that's a pretty bad hell gig. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh gosh, I'm hopefully I will have scored like a TV gig, a late night gig. That's sort of the that's the what most young comedians hope for, and because that will help you get more gigs.
From your mouth.
So, what's that?
No, I'm saying from your mouth to God's ears. I've got to wrap this up because I got 1 minute. So,
that's basically it.
Keith, tell us, where do you see yourself, God willing, in 10 years?
Oh, hopefully
you're young enough still; it won't be in a box. So
yeah, hopefully I'll have some grandkids, and you'll like this, Rabbi. After sending my daughter to Catholic school and off to the Vatican for college, she converted to Judaism last year. So,
I'm sorry. Wow. Happy for us.
Well, like Julia, she was working at Jewish Family Services down in Charlotte and with the school, and you guys sucked her in. You're like a cult.
Wow.
Julia, is there more Judaism in your future? Where do you see yourself in God willing 10 years?
In 10 years, I definitely like to be Jewish, if I can.
Absolutely.
And then, but yeah, I want to make money, guys. I've done some commercial work, like actual commercial work.
I'm Jewish.
Yeah,
Best line of the show. You don't even have to say anymore. I'm leaving it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody get tickets to the Frigid Festival 2022, frigid.nyc, to see these delightful, talented people. Keith Alessi, Grant Bowen, Mike Lemme, Brian Schiller, Julia VanderVeen. All of you, I wish you so much success. I hope you do meet Ken Davenport. I hope he throws tons of money at you. Jeffrey Richards also. I know Jeffrey Richards. Just give me a fucking dime. I hope they support you and bring you to the place you want to be in your careers and in your lives. So I'm gonna have you do like the dating game, blow kisses or something more obscene. I'm gonna let you go one by one. Shalom to you and success. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Shalom.
Shalom to you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, you can
Nice
do it.
meeting
Yeah,
you
they can
all.
let themselves out. This is good.
Sorry
You know, they can do
for
that.
on your line.
There we go. Shalom. And it's just me.